Hi, I'm Pam.
And I'm Erica.
And we're here today to help you with this Far Out Groovy quilt.
And that's actually what it's called.
It is.
The Far Out Groovy quilt.
And it's a great use of your scraps and fat quarters. In fact, we have some really fun fabric here.
It was by Riley Blake, and those were fat quarters that we used in making this.
Terrific. So you can see, quilters, how fun this is. It kind of gives that little dimensional look to it. We're actually going to make the center block here, which is a square on point, and the half squares that go with it.
So to do this, we're using our 12-inch cube today, and we've got 2 of the dies that we're going to pull out and use for that. And we've got that square on point. Now we do the math for you, so it makes it a lot easier to do that.
Right, so here's our square on point quilters. It is, the die shows you where the two-tone foam shows you where to lay the fabric, and we've actually subcut it so that it fits right over that piece. Now we want the lengthwise grain of the fabric to travel back and forth through the machine. So I'm just going to tug, kind of loose and wonky, nice and tight. Nice and tight is the lengthwise grain, the way you want it to go. And because I'm using our Go Big Electric today, we can run 2 dies through at one time. So I'm going to put fabric on my next die, which are those half square triangles. Right here, the half square triangles that match that big square on point. So again, I'm going to find the lengthwise grain, nice and tight.
Perfect.
Run it through, put the cutting mat on, and now we can run them through together.
And really, we could go out and get a Coke because they're just going to stand there and wait for us.
All right, so now, Erica, look how fast I cut those 2 dies in one time. So quilters, we use the Go Big machine. You can use also the Go machine if you have the 12-inch cube.
Right.
Now, if we lift these cutting mats off, all the pieces are going to fly everywhere. So kind of a trick that we use here is you want to slide those mats off. And then look, I'm just going to pull back. I have very little waste here.
Perfect.
Perfect, half square triangles. I'm going to do the same here with my square on point. I have very little waste, and now they're all ready to go together.
So we're going to get excellent, perfect cuts every time. We're ready to put this together. So when I do a square on point like this, I like to do opposite sides first.
Okay.
Now we are going to line up. If I was doing this, I'd probably do all of my one side together, line them up, stitch them, press them, and then go back to the sewing machine and do the other side. But I'm just doing the one here. So let's get this sewn for you.
Quilters, we've cut off the dog edge ears right here on the edge of this triangle. So right here along this edge is now a 1/4 inch seam, which is what Erica is sewing right now.
Okay, now I'm going to go ahead, do the other side, then we can go ahead, press it out, finish it out, and let you see what the final product is going to look like.
Square and a square is one of my very favorite blocks.
Really versatile. When you start looking at quilt patterns, you're going to see this showing up again and again in classic quilts as well as modern ones.
And quilters, a square on point isn't just a square that we've turned on its side. It actually has different dimensions so that those half square triangles can fit with it. But here at AccuQuilt, they did all the math for us.
So we don't have to worry about it.
Nope.
So I'm going to go ahead and press these open because I want to get a good press on the corners so that we meet up well. So that is going to press out. I'm going to roll that open. Now when I go to put on the other side, they're going to meet up just perfectly for us. So when I do this, we're going to line up. And I think you can even see how the dog ears are going to line up with the angle just right. And again, we've done the math for you, so you don't have to.
And I think that fabric is so cool. It's kind of paisley, kind of funky.
It's very fun. And when we get done with this then, I want to put the other side on real quick. Whoop, and try not to take the iron with me.
There you go. Move it out of your way there.
Except I'm standing on it.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, we'll get this last side on here so you can see how it looks.
Now you'll notice that Erica's using a true 1/4 inch seam allowance. It's really important, quilters, that you not use a scant.
And when we go back here, get that out of our way. We can set our seams, roll them open, and we've got that center part done.
Wow, look how easy that came together and how perfect those edges are. So now quilters, keep in mind that right here, this is now your new 1/4 inch seam. So when you're sewing the blocks together, you're going to find that it's going to fit together perfectly.
So that you still have your full square in the center. I'm going to get my threads out of there.
There we go.
Now, we promised that we were going to talk a little bit about the border.
Correct.
The border on this quilt is actually made with the 8-inch cube and the 8-inch companion.
It is. And just so you know, we want you to make sure that you recognize that those chisels are, you want to put right sides together, they're directional because you want to cut them in pairs along with the half square triangles that go with them. So when you're doing this quilt, you want to make sure you read through all the cutting instructions first so that you cut them correctly.
And you may even want to cut a sample out of some scrap fabric to sew it together with a directional shape like that, because I myself am really bad at reading directions.
Yes, and that way you can put everything together. So if you want to make this quilt, make sure you have a 12-inch cube, an 8-inch cube, and an 8-inch companion cube.
That's right.
We'd love to see your finished projects, quilters. Find us at AccuQuilt.com on our ideas page. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest, one of your favorites.
That's right. Because at AccuQuilt, we help you cut time
So you can quilt more.